I love this quote. It makes me super happy and should give a lot of hope for all of those non 4.0 students. And I want I want the 4.0 students that were under the impression that if you did what you were told, that you would be successful. You might be successful, but I think that simple competence and compliance isn't going to get you where you think it ought to get you. The promise that you were given, you need to question who it was that gave you that promise, why you should believe them, why they know what in the world they're talking about, and then think about the rest of the world. Think about the world. Okay, so here's the quote. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. And that is George Bernard Shaw. And I love this idea because there is a tremendous amount of, how do I want to say it? There's a tremendous amount of negativity toward the student that didn't do really well. And something that I want to touch on a handful of things. I'm going to meander around a little bit. So I was reading somewhere where they were talking about students when they were in kindergarten, and they asked them how many of them were creative. And all of the hands go up because everybody's creative. And then somewhere along the line, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, by the time are getting out of elementary school, it's just a tiny few hands that are going up. And I personally think that a lot of that has to do with the kids recognizing that it's only a select few that are getting recognized for their creativity. And it isn't being made aware for everybody that creativity is just a skill. It's like anything else, you have to work at it. When I heard a woman just the other day, she made a comment about juggling. She was talking about day plans, and she was talking about juggling stuff, and she said that she wasn't very good at juggling, and that she didn't want to say she wasn't coordinated because she used to dance. And I thought, well, it's probably because she hasn't spent that much time trying to juggle. Juggling's a skill, and a lot of skills are counterintuitive. And if just because you're coordinated, I've known people that they didn't strike me as coordinated at too much anything, but man, could they dance? Oh my gosh, like it was nuts how good and intuitive dancing was to them. I have zero issue with the idea that there are some people that juggling comes super intuitive while dance is confusing. There are things that I do, like I will create artwork that's in a vector format, black and white. I function really well in creating shapes. Color is super confusing to me. Now, if I sat down and watched some videos on color theory, if I sat down and read some books and did the exercises and actually committed myself to trying to learn how color functions, absolutely. I may not be awesome at it, but can I improve? 100%. Can I come up to a skill level that would not make me look deficient? Absolutely. Sure, I could. I don't have that much interest in it, so I'm not going to go do it. I'm also not going to complain about it. I'm just going to sub it out. I'm going to ask other people that work for me, hey, what do you think? And they just color the stuff for me. It works really well. For them, it was super intuitive, natural, makes them feel good about their contribution. And for me, I don't have that much interest. I don't care that much. I'm not going to go learn. Now, one of the things that bothers me a lot is the idea for kids when they're coming up in school They struggle in school, and they're perfectly intelligent kids. The problem is they're being told that they need to be interested in something that doesn't interest them. They need to sit down and focus. And if they're not interested, now you take one of these 2.0 students and put them in front of an Xbox and they've got zero issue with focusing. What? They've got attention deficit problem? No, they don't. You're boring. The subject matter doesn't interest them. It's boring. It's not interesting. You get them in front of something that interests them, and suddenly, what? They're genetically rewired? No, no, that's not true. The fact is that people are more inclined to do the things that interest them and that they get a reward for that they care about. Okay. My wife has to rescue trophies and awards from the garbage can because generally speaking, I don't care. I've got one award, one certification on my wall. It's the only one that I care about. And it was from going through a coaching program, because coaching people and helping people out, it's the only thing in the world that I really care a whole lot about. I've studied it. I've studied self-development for years. I love helping people get unstuck. And I resent the daylights out of people that have never personally done anything, but want to tell everyone how to succeed. And so I don't blame school teachers as a category. I just know that when you show up and you go to school as a 5-year-old, and then you go through elementary, junior high, high school, and through college, and then you go on to university, or, however the whole, college, university, whatever, and then you graduate and you go into a school and you know how the world works. As far as I know, you haven't been in the world. You may have taken a summer job, but what the heck do you know? What does the world reward? It doesn't reward meeting spec. It doesn't reward, it rewards innovation. It rewards caring. When's the last time caring showed up on a test? When's the last time that goodwill and when's the last time that in school they taught you how to be persuasive, how to be helpful, how to actually learn? If you show up and all you do is deliver the minimum amount, you're not going to get an A in the world. The world doesn't work like that. The rule of money is simple. The rule of money, which is a Earl Nightingale idea, what you do has got to be in demand. If nobody wants what you're doing, it doesn't matter that you got an A in it in school. If nobody wants what you're doing, you're not getting paid. You got to be good at it. If people want it and you suck, if you can't deliver the goods, you're not getting paid. And then the third thing is you have to be difficult to replace. So if it's in demand, people want it, you're good at it, but so is everybody else. You're not getting paid. So you've got to find that thing that you are distinctly good at. And I do not mean naturally, intuitively good at, okay? Because when you were a child, you couldn't even tie your own freaking shoe. You couldn't even put your own pants on. You had to be helped with everything. And there isn't anything that you can do that you didn't have to learn how to do it. Okay, you can learn to do all sorts of wild, cool, crazy, awesome things. You need to find your place where those three things meet, something that's in demand, that you're good at, and that not everybody else is. And if you experiment and work and think long enough, something's going to pop up. And that is where you're going to be able to make your pile, your stack. That's where you're going to be able to make your money. Okay. So when you are reminded of how you sucked at school, okay, big deal. So what? Lots of people sucked at school. There were some teachers that they were quite captivating. And there were some teachers that really sucked. And nobody seems to want to address the fact that some teachers are actually quite miserable. They're terrible teachers. They have no business in school. Some teachers don't even like kids. And yet there they are. I think a lot of them feel very trapped, and that's why they do it. And they know that they can't actually succeed in the world. And so what they do is they just pretend to help people and they just communicate information. They don't actually teach, and they certainly don't inspire, because teachers that teach and inspire and are captivated by their material, even if you don't particularly care, you can't help but to be interested when somebody else is extremely interested. This is part of the reason why some teachers aren't all that awesome. It was Albert Einstein that said something to the effect of, if you evaluate a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it would be graded as a bad fish. This is why you need to evaluate what it is that you're good at by the measure of who you are. And you need to search around and probe and find where your place is, because there is a place for you, and there's a way for you to be more human. And the path to being a contributor, the contributor that you're designed to be, is rarely in just the stiff, uncaring execution of things. And the future is actually farther and farther away from that. As the AI technology comes along, that's going to be the first thing that they come after, is the people that do repetitive tasks. And the AI is going to absolutely demolish those skills. The AI has its limitations, and it will always have its limitations. It is not human. I'm Adam Funderburg, the owner of High Caliber Coaching. You can do more than you think. You're a human being, and you were created in the image of God, and you were designed to win and go do awesome things.